I'm pleased to say that we have this message from Laura Whitehorn. Many of you probably have met Laura when she's been in town. She's actually also going to be in town next Saturday, right? At the re-entry prisoner advocacy summit, which we can get more information about later. So Laura is a white anti-imperialist lesbian, former political prisoner who spent 14 years in prison. She's also a longtime AIDS activist and now is an editor at Pause Magazine in New York. And she has also committed to really to fight for the freedom of the political prisoners still inside and also against mass incarceration. So I'm honored to bring this message from Laura. She says, "To the gathered masses celebrating our comrade David and his new book, I am so sorry not to be with you tonight. I send love and solidarity. I know this event rocks, not only because David is a fabulous person and worthy of all the love we can offer, but because it is another step in building solid, continuing support for all political prisoners. David wrote his book not to give attention and applause, but to initiate discussion between activists and revolutionaries behind the walls and on the streets, and that is critical." It is important for us out here because we need to investigate and analyze the experiences of radical action in the past. We need to look into the politics that have guided previous generations, to learn, criticize, and rethink. David's book presents a stark history of his own political genesis and the work he took part in, offering us a chance to learn from this history without romanticizing it. David himself exemplifies the way solidarity fuels resistance, and his book offers a firm basis for us to discuss what solidarity means and how to enact it. And it's important for us out here to communicate with our comrades inside. With David, yes, but also always with Sundiata, with Herman, with Eddie, with Jaleel, with Leonard, with all the comrades behind bars. One thing I've been talking with David about, and which I think he'd want me to bring up for tonight's discussion, is that I wanted the politics on women's liberation to go further than he takes them in his book. The problem of sexist, male-dominated politics, like ours in the 60s, can't be addressed just by adding women to the list. The same goes for queers, transgender people, and other gender non-conforming people. Seeing things from the viewpoint of women and queers most often alters and sharpens the basic political analysis. For example, mass incarceration. Any analysis that excludes women and queers and trans from a view of the prison system fails to fully understand how prisons repress and control communities and make resistance less likely to emerge. If you omit women and queer and trans people, you don't really see the role of sexual threat and sexual violence in incarceration. You don't really see how the state's control works not only through outright violence, but through enforcement of sex roles and the use of humiliation. And because women supply much of the glue and backbone that enable a community to resist and to keep on doing it, if women are damaged by being locked up or by being left to hold the family together, exhausted by the demands of money, food, and the additional burden of getting kids to visiting rooms at far-off joints, then the long-term ability of oppressed communities to resist is fundamentally undermined. And anyone who's been in visiting rooms at women's and men's prisons knows that in both cases, most of those visitors are women. We have to keep talking about this stuff with our comrades inside because the political prisoners are part of us, part of our movement. While we struggle to win their release, we need to make sure that they are treated as equals in our movement. We need to talk to them not only about their situations and the issue of political prisoners, but about the breadth of resistance. We need to write to them, read with them, disagree, and be honest with them, and always to learn from their ideas, their practice, and their enormous courage and dignity in facing so many years in prison. And we need to do whatever we can to make certain that those years do not continue to stretch on and on. We need them here with us so that we can really talk, work, enjoy, love, and struggle for justice together.